Today, on The Art of Commerce, we're joined by one of the most fascinating founder CEOs in tech, Mario Ciabarra, the entrepreneur behind Quantum Metric.
When you're the youngest of six, you're in survival mode. And it's the same thing in that feeling in a company, and you find a way. One thing I've learned in life is that money will not make you happy. Choose a career that you're going to love. Early days of Quantum, I clean the toilets too. It's really a prioritization, like how will we create success together and what needs to get done? Anyone wanting to start a company is that it's really easy. All you need to do is simplify it to step by step, and at the end you will get there.
The Art of Commerce is a podcast featuring conversations on creativity and conversions. Hosted by Anish, a data-obsessed creative director, and Jinx, a growth-obsessed CMO. Listen on for actionable insights for the modern marketer.
Oh man, this is great for me. For hopefully people are listening are pulling this. I'll say this is a great time to pivot to Quantum Metric because one, you said you're retired. You don't need to work. You don't need to found another company. You don't need to help other companies find customer pain points, etc. Yet you did, and I think it's because of all the curiosity part you just said. But to open this up, I'd love for Anish. You know, you're a user. You're in the tool, man. Give the audience an idea of how you use it, what it's done for your business, etc.
Yeah, no, let's do a Quantum Metric 101, right? Like I'm not an e-commerce or MarTech native before Jinx hired me on his team. I come from a creative background. So for the listeners, if you haven't heard of Quantum Metric, it's the way I understand it is, imagine if you had a crystal ball, which you look into the ball and you can see actual user interactions, the way the user experiences it. So it's a live replay of all the user sessions along with some cool insights. And here's one of the ways that we use it right now. I lead personalization at my current job, and a lot of personalization is just changing up the base experience of your platform, right? So there's a good chance when you go to your platform, your website, your app, your TV app, you're not going to see what your customer segments are seeing. Without Quantum Metric, when I look at my dashboard, my numbers are telling me something's wrong. Something's not working the right way, right? And I go with that to my product owners, to my IT teams, and I'm like, guys, something's not right. Can we look at this? And most product teams, most IT owners, they want to recreate the problem so they can solve it, right? The thing with personalization is unless you check all the boxes, it's not going to look the exact same way to you, right? So what we do is, as a standard now, we have set up a listening tool on Quantum Metrics, like a listening segment, which allows us to look at personalized replays of those sessions. And anytime the data tells me something's not wrong, we pull up a list of these replays, pass it on to the entire team so they can see what's happening. And once you see it, you believe it, and then you act on it, right? And that has really helped us accelerate the way with which we not only confirm things the way they are happening, but also implement fixes. And that has been a huge unlock simply from a momentum and speed perspective. So that's why I love the tool so much. If you guys are listening to us, if you haven't checked it out, you should check out Quantum Metric. But yeah, it's a lifesaver. It allows us to innovate, and it really helps us push things through at a much faster pace. So that's my story, and it helps us solve so many problems, man. So thanks to you and the team for helping make this happen, for solving so many problems for us marketers.
I love it, Anish. You know, the funny things about founders, and again, putting the founder reflective hat on that story, I could tell you whatever I want to tell you what Quantum does. It doesn't matter. Listen to your customer. And yeah. I remember so many times, and I learned from our CMO, Efrat Ravid, like, one of the early things that she taught me was go and ask customers what they say your product does. That's how you understand what your product does. You know, when you want to know how to let other people understand what you do, just ask Anish. What does it do? And I would use the word that I heard in your discussion. It's the quantified why, right? Like, you have dashboards that tell you what's happening. Why is it happening? How do I unlock the what really happened to the customer understanding to my team so that they can improve it? Because if they had visibility to that, they would have solved it already. So how do we give them the visibility, that the understanding in a quantified way? Because there's 10,000 things they can understand some greater value than others. How do we help them understand what's the most important thing they need to understand? And then the second and the third, and then address them. And by the way, when you improve the top three, there's three more right behind it. And of course, there's the diminishing returns. And hey, I'm not going to do any more improvements on that. I'm going to go push out this new feature release that my business wanted. But you kind of constantly have to be thinking about, am I doing the right thing for the business today? And I think this is a great feedback mechanism, both the what is happening and then most importantely, the why it's happening.
Amazing. Well put. So well put.
Unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, same thing at Comcast. One of my team members brought it for Xfinity Mobile. It was like, hey, we got this thing. We used it. It was so awesome that we were like, how do we get it on every digital property? How do we bring it over to Edition Sling? So like, but Anish, amazing story. And like, that's the way I think.
And not just solving problems, though. Even when you go to your senior leadership, we leave with these replays and say that, hey, this is what's actually happening. And when you show it, what's the foundation of great storytelling? Show, don't tell. Quantum metric allows us to show the impact, and that's just unreal. When you can see those personalizations firing in real time,
seeing is believing, right? That's it.
Seeing is believing.
And I love it. And I like to add the words, it's the undeniable truth. You can have a spreadsheet of anything, and then I'm going to read it, and my eyes will be rolling. When you see the experience, it stops all conversation. And if you can back that single viewing with the analytics of this represents 17% of our customer base, like we've got to improve this. Like everyone just stops and they just get to work versus we've all been in the meetings where everyone wants to argue about their data and their slice and what their priorities are. And in fact, I was talking to a chief digital officer of a major telco, which I know you guys are in the world of. And he's like, what this allowed us to do is change the culture of our organization. I'm no longer having to be the parent in the room, deciphering the communication between my tech and business teams. They are now all looking at the data in perspective of the customer's lens. No longer, what's my marketing priority? What's my product priority? What's my IT priority? Stop. It's what's my customer priority? And now these parts of the organizations are aligned on how do I make a better business from my customer's perspective?
So Mario, what was like the aha that was like, yeah, we need to build this? Like, what was the thing? I mean, it seems so obvious now, but like,
good question, yeah.
There's two things. One, all of my ideas have been built upon someone else's shoulders. And because I've seen them first and I was like, I could do that better. Like that's nice, but not good enough. And so in this case, it was Tea Leaf. And the founder of Tea Leaf joined us and I love him. He's a really, really highly intelligent individual that had this idea in 1999. Now, his version of this was assembling network packets to understand the personalized output of web servers. Because obviously I could assemble like what one response was, but what did Billy get? What did Kelly get? And like, that's the idea of capturing each understanding. The second part was, we didn't talk about Rock Your Phone, but Rock Your Phone was, in Teleborn, I created this whole business process of selling the apps because we couldn't sell in the App Store. But there's lots of other people that are developing these apps in the jailbreak market. And I was like, oh, well, why don't I've already built the go-to-market platform for apps for a developer. Why don't I share that platform with others? And that's what the advent of Rock Your Phone was. And so in that process, if you run this commerce engine, people have problems. There's going to be friction points. And one that stood out to me was a buyer in Japan. Japan was like 2% of my revenue. It wasn't my priority, but for 6 months, I tried to help this one person because I just didn't want to leave anyone hanging. I appreciated his attempt to keep buying. Now, the problem was he didn't speak English well. I don't speak any Japanese except, konnichiwa, maybe, if I even pronounce it correctly. And so he kept trying to say in English his problem. I kept trying to understand him. And it took me 6 months. And the answer was he lived in an area where the zip code, the prefecture, was a different set of digits than what the software I had, installed would work. So I had some Japanese buyers, but in this one, it didn't work. So he probably filled in an extra digit or it was a missing digit. I wasn't quite sure which one. And every time it would fail a payment. And I'm like, but I have other people in Japan buying it. Maybe you don't have any credit. I don't know what your problem is. And it took me 6 months. And eventually, oh gosh, that's the problem. And if you reflect on that, if I could have just seen his experience, I would have understood the why. And it took me a long time to figure it out. I'm like, man, there's got to be an easier way. So I saw Tea Leaf from a friend, now our COO at Quantum Metric, Glenn Tratner. He was using Tea Leaf. He's like, man, you got to see this product. And it was just like unrelated to the whole conversation. I'm like, that's really cool. You get the customer's lens on every journey. That's awesome. I think I could build something even better. Maybe I should start that.
That's unreal. Oh my God. And I love the fact of the inspiration, right? I mean, we talk about it in music, you talk about it in art, but to take that inspiration and actually create a product, and a successful product at that, I mean, it's unbelievable.
I mean,
Also, yeah, go ahead.
No, I would say the funny thing about getting your customers' lens is, what is the key ingredient to any business? It's understanding your customer and making them happy, and creating something that solves some kind of, friction for them. So it's like, we talk about our company's mission as we help companies build cultures maniacally focused on winning the hearts of their customer. It turns out, if you just really unpack that sentence, that is the definition of success for every company.
Yeah.
Wow. You referenced Gabriel in the conversation before. Let's talk about your co-founder. How did you guys meet outside of the Coke story in the college dorm room? And when did you find the momentum to reconnect and build Quantum Metric?
Yeah. So for David, for Quantum, we met in an IRC chat room. So for those that don't know IRC, you probably know Discord today. Discord is like a beautiful wrapper around IRC, and it's used by the masses. IRC is used by geeks. So if you don't know what it is, it just means you're not a geek. I'm a little geeky if you haven't figured it out. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay.
Geek of a certain age, which we won't say here, but
yeah. Geeky and with wisdom, I guess. And so we were in this kind of hacker channel for the iPhone, and he was one of the world's most renowned hackers. He's absolutely brilliant. And I was wanting to do this iPhone, turn it into a hotspot, and I didn't know kernel drivers, kernel reverse engineering, ARM, reverse engineering, and this was his expertise. And I said, reached out to him. His hacker handle is Planet Being, so like Twitter handle would be Planet Being and stuff like that. So you can go look him up. He's an incredibly famous hacker. And I said, hey, I've got a great idea. I would love to split the profits with you if you can help me solve this one problem, which is actually making it work at all. But I will handle all the go-to-market, the UI, everything. You just help me solve this, which he would have solved in about 3 hours of work. He said, yeah, maybe send me what you have. He never responded. To this day, if we get him on the call, he will say he regrets it to this day because it was so successful. It was the #1 grossing app in the jailbreak market, and he would have had half of it. So ever since then, every time he doesn't want to listen to me, he reflects on that. He's like, I'll just listen to Mario because I know I should just listen to Mario. That's the way of bending his arm for the rest of his life. He's like, I should have listened to him the first time. I will listen to him from now on out.
Oh, it's a great story.
Amazing.
So the how it ended up was like, hey, he actually got a job. I won't say the name because Big Bear. It was one of the top 5 tech companies in the world, and they were going to offer him, and I will share the number, and hopefully he doesn't get mad. $70,000 a year. This guy is one of the world's most renowned hackers. He's absolutely top of his game, and he was about to accept a job for $70,000 a year. This is like 20 early 20s, and I said, do not take that job. Come here. I will pay you more than double, and we will create a company, and you will have incredible outcome from it, and we'll have so much fun together. He's like, what are we going to build? I said, I have no idea. I did. I mean, it was pre a vision of Quantum, and I said, I don't know what we're going to do together, but whatever it is, it's going to be a great success, and we're going to have so much fun. And I think he would on this call say, Mario delivered in all those pieces.
Unbelievable. So we learned another lesson, which is always listen to Mario. So
always listen to Mario.
I hate for that to be the takeaway, but I don't think it's an unreasonable thing. One lesson from that joke. David and I fought a lot, like yelling at each other in the dorm room, in the office about concepts, about how to technically solve problems, about what problems we're trying to solve, and about how we're going to get it to work. And we did it with passion and love. It was always with love. And we might be yelling, not in a loving way, like not angry, but angry, for like 5 minutes. And then hey, be done. Like, hey, you want to grab lunch together? Like, it wasn't ever malicious or angry at each other. It was because of the passion of the position that we felt. And we always saw eye to eye on everything. And it was a great way to just use both of our minds. I just like it. It's more fun to kind of yell about ideas, I just like, it's my Italian to Philly roots, I think. But and I think just as a founder, if you surround yourself with yes people, it will more likely fail. This echo chamber is real. And if you can have the courage to argue, maybe not yell at, it was more like arguing concepts and position. if you can argue with your co-founder or your team, I believe that will always make you more successful.
I agree. We talked about it a lot, this idea of a healthy tension, right?
Yes.
A lot of people are nice and they avoid conflict, but like actually, if you have productive conflict where you trust and there's not to be over pedantic, but like a love, between you guys, like then yeah, you can have some really healthy. You can have knockout, drag down fights, but like at the end of the day, that's healthy conflict,
Yeah, I love it. And it was really important to our early days because neither one of us was truly right all the time. In fact, one of the cool things that we learned, like David's an exact and I'm a like rough is good enough kind of person. And we both learned before we got to getting Quantum out the door or started, we kind of did some more work in that jailbreak market together. And what I learned from him is it's better to be a little bit more perfect. And what he learned from me is it's better to be less than always 100% perfect because the last mile is forever. You don't need to be perfect to be successful.
Okay, so that's an amazing story and about the founding. Also, you talked about a thing that you and I talked a lot about, which is culture and people. And you just described this amazing interaction that allows you to start a company, to create a spark. Now you are a large company. You have Fortune 100 clients. You're cross verticals. You have people all over the world. Like, how do you maintain that builder's mindset? How do you maintain the culture that you wanted to build with this big giant company now?
I think you can. I think a lot of companies, as they grow, can oscillate in that founder's mindset. And I don't think it's a negative thing because I think if you're running 150 miles an hour all day long for 10 years, it's really hard, right? Like you will be burned out. And so I think there's a natural oscillation to companies. It's not everybody. And I've seen some people like, man, I pick a company like ServiceNow. I don't think they've ever oscillated. I think they've always been at the peak of their game. And I'm in awe of a company like that. I'm just like, wow, how do you do that all the time? And just look at their stock price, right? Like the multiples, it's just so many things in there that are just so impressive. And I'm in all of it. But like I've allowed the company to oscillate because I think it's healthy to like be at 150 for 70% of the time and then have a little bit of a recharge moment. And then I think that's why pressure is really fun for me. I love competition. Like competition makes me bring my A game, maybe my A plus game. Maybe I have an A minus sometimes when we're just riding the top of the wave all the time. And so, when you think about that from a culture expansion, it's scary in the beginning because you're like, everyone's first name, everyone's kids' names in the 5 people, the 10 people, the 20 people, and you start to get to 50 and 100 and you lose that connectivity. And what I've learned is your deputies need to be you when you're not in the room. And you need to set up the cultural structure to make that happen. You've got to teach that to your deputies to make the right decision on what's right. And when you do that, the next time that decision comes up, you don't need to be in the room. And that's how you build a culture globally. Like you just show and demonstrate the right decisions. And then and you lead with company goals. Like ours is happy people, healthy and diverse cultures. It's number one. It's more than money. It's do right by people. The second one is customers as raving fans. If we do right by our people and we do right by our customers, the third one, which is always a financial goal, next year it's going to be, I want to be a north of 50. It might end up, we're deciding on it right now what to say to the team, but it might be a rule of 40 company. But I will tell you, my heart is rule of 50. I think we can get there. How do we become a rule of 50 company next year? And so if you do people right, your people right, you do your customers right, that's how you unlock your company's success. And like a lot of founders, a lot of businesses will reverse it. Let's go grow. And I'm not judging them, but I really believe the secret to get to that growth is inverting that formula.
That's unbelievable.
What an incredible story, man. Mario, we were joking about this before we started recording this episode of whether or not we are AI. This story just confirms like you are human, all like 100% human.
Yeah, 100%.
So many companies like to say that we are a family, but you live by example, and that is incredible.
And you know that on that part of that story, you find out who you are during the difficult moments.
Yeah.
Well said.
No, it's an amazing juxtaposition around what you talked about because we talk about this a lot, by the way. Yeah, I've had the pleasure of being a friend of yours, a client, a friend. You're a mentor to me. So like we talked about culture, but I'd be remiss if we only have a couple more minutes in the pod. If we didn't talk about Felix and we didn't talk about how you're you are human, but you believe in AI and how you're trying to humanize AI. So what is Felix? Like what's the top line for the listeners, Mario?
Well, in my mind, there's two Felix. I'm going to talk about the first one, the second one. The first Felix is summarizing that journey that Anish was talking about. Like, how do you get to understanding of a customer? We have so much data. We collect 2,700 times more data than our peers. Okay, who cares? What do you do with that data? Well, because no one wants to go sift through all of it. Generative AI, Felix sitting on top of Gemini allows us to summarize that corpus of information. So I know why Anish struggled today. And I'll connect that into a common day, everyday use case. If we try to self-service, we're on our website, we're trying to do something or an app and it's not working, we might be inclined to call. When we do, we get an IVR, press 5, we get an agent to say, how can I help you, Anish? Anish explains himself. Oh, hold on, Anish, I got to transfer you to someone else to help you. Wouldn't it be amazing in our everyday lives that when we call the business that we were just on their website or app, the connectivity of that conversation is connected into the call. They transfer me to let's say I'm activating a new phone. They connect me into the phone activations. Mario, it looks like you're trying to activate a new phone. You got an error in the app. Sorry about that. Can I help you with this or something else? So that was Felix, part 1. Part 2, if you remember the 1990s movies. But part 1 was summarizing individuals and sessions, and you can do that across devices, which is really cool. But part 2, probably the biggest friction point of quantum in itself is we have all this beautiful data. If you are curious and smart and intelligent, and I know the two of you are because you guys get value out of the product, this is an amazing value add. If you cannot be bothered to use data because you have your priority, and I'm not being punitive to this, but like if you're a marketer, you want to build marketing campaigns. If you're a product owner, you want to build product. If you're an engineer, you want to write code. You don't want to be stuck in analytics all day. So how do you unlock the value that we've been capturing for all those teams? Felix is this massive win. I have been demoing this for the last 2 weeks to C-levels and operators, and I have never seen people jump out of their seat like they do today. And so I'm so excited about where this is headed, which is like a lot of people, there's 2 things. Like 1, do you know what question to ask of this data? And 2, do you have the time to ask it? We're eliminating both of those problems.
Wow.
1, it's going to ask the question for you every hour for you and your business. And it's thought through in each of these personas. I'm a marketer. What kind of questions do I have about my business? I'm a technologist. What kind of questions do I have about my user's experience with regard to technology? Like, did the login API just break and so on? And then when the answers are alarming, have it alert you. You guys have been around too long to not know about configuring thresholds on alerts. Stop it, right? Like, I'm done with it. It should know better, right? It should know when it should call me at 2:00 in the morning and wake me up because there's a real massive problem. And that versus, yeah, you can ignore it. It doesn't matter. So we're in this world of agentic AI and this massive unlock. The biggest complaint for our business is, I know the data is there, but it's hard for me to spend time in the dashboards of what dashboard I need to go view and find. That is going to go away in 2026. I'm so excited. I've never been more bullish about it. In fact, we're having the best quarter ever in the company's history because of our agentic AI release. Just the demos and showing them on their own data. They're like, whatever you need, I'm going to be your customer for the next 3 years. This is amazing.
Whoa.
I know, Anish. Sorry I haven't done the demo to you yet. And I'm a product guy. And I think another last maybe comment for founders, if you can't go demo your product, I constantly, I probably upset people all the time because a lot of executives don't want to see the demo. I'm like, can I show you the demo, please? Because I'm that product guy. But when they see the demo, like their eyes just grow like large, like raccoon, like it's like, wow, this is amazing. I need that right now.
We had the same reaction when we saw part 1, I think 2 years ago.
That's right.
That was mind blowing, but this part 2 sounds so good. Also, so many companies are struggling to find real value out of AI, which is what makes it different than chasing the shiny object. This sounds like a huge unlock for marketers. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, Mario, I know we're running out of time with you. You got a busy schedule. You got more products to create and all that stuff. So just a couple more things. 1, I'd love for you just to give a plug to Quantum Leap. Folks might not know about it, but if they're interested in the product, it's probably the best way to go and learn more about it. So you want to say what's going on?
March 4th, March 6th, we are taking over Fort Worth, Texas at Quantum Leap. From the first Leap conference to the last one last year, I get the same response every time. I've never been at a business conference where I felt like at home. So the energy that we have as a company it shines not just from our people, but from the people that attend. It's infectious. If you bring love to your people, if you bring love to your customers, they will share that love at the conference. There's nothing like it. I get those kind of comments back. Would love to host anyone listening to please attend. It's an amazing conference. You'll learn, and most importantly, you'll laugh and you'll have fun, and you'll walk away with a lifelong friend. This is my guarantee.
Let's do it, Mario. That's an incredible idea. Would you be open to doing a few giveaways for our listeners?
100%. Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right.
Hey, you heard it here first. Let's do it.
Yeah, we'll figure out what it is, and then that's what we're going to post on the on the app. So that's great. All right. One last thing, if you're still open, I know we don't want to take too much of you, but we always like with our interviews to do a lightning round. You down?
Let's
down?
do it.
All right, let's do it. Okay. So first, what's the AI tool that you can't live without right now?
Without question, this Gemini 3 is freaking me out. Like I was talking, I got an email and I was like, how do I interpret this? And I was going to go talk to a friend. And I was like, I'll go talk to my friend Gemini 3. And it was so spot on. And I talked to my friend and he gave me the same answers. I was like, I don't even need you anymore. Like Gemini was spot on. It was spot on. And like interpreting like in between the line message, was amazed.
Unbelievable. What's the one business book or podcast or something you're inspired by?
You know, Elon Musk is a contentious human being. Steve Jobs is a contentious. I really love both of their autobiographies. I don't have to side with, like, I don't like the leadership styles, if you don't mind me being honest, but I am impressed with their success. And there's just so much to learn from the way that they created success. There's a pattern to both of them. So I've enjoyed reading their books.
Amazing. What's your favorite brand or product experience right now?
I think something I've always been obsessed with is, how does Disney make everyone feel at home in their parks? How do they take the love and care from the janitor, right? The janitor, like if you talk to, I dare you all to go to talk to the janitor at Disney, the parks, and look how amazing he or she is, how they treat you with respect and kindness, and how they know where everything is and can guide you just as well as anybody else in that park. And so I think, introspectively, how do we take that same love and care that they have for their audience and bring that to the digital? Because it's way harder in digital. You don't even see the customer. How do we translate that love and care to our digital owners, to their audiences?
We on the podcast love the Disney experience. And, yeah.
We did a whole episode about it. So anyway, we'll plug ourselves in reverse. You talked a lot about it. Pressure, intensity, important, but also disconnecting. So other than jumping out of a plane, what's your favorite way to disconnect?
I live in Colorado, and I think in 2018, I started falling in love with jumping in the park. So at Copper is my number one park. I ruptured my ACL in 2021, and I was a little bit scared to get on that horse. And like last year, for example, I'm doing the jumps I was doing in 2020, and they're like 35-foot jumps. And I feel, realistically, they're 5 seconds, 3 seconds in the air. I feel so alive for those 3 seconds. Don't screw up, by the way. Don't break your ACL. But it's so much fun, and I just love that disconnect. And the thing is about those moments, you can't think about anything else but that jump. Like there's no space in your brain for, hey, how are we going to go to market? How are we going to launch Felix, et cetera? There's just focus on that jump, and that demand is so much fun.
Amazing. And you got 360 videos, I think, of you doing it. So we got to link to them. That's a different story. Last one. Okay, what's one piece of advice you'd give your 22-year-old self?
It's the same one I gave to my son. Like, it's not about the financial reward. Just find something you're passionate about and follow it. Like, passion trumps everything else in life. Like, we're going to live and we're going to die, and in between, what you need to fill it with is passion, fun, laughter, and love. Just do it, and you will have an incredible life.
That's amazing. Wow. All right, with that Mario, thank you for your time. Like we said, from candy hustling to quantum metric to the future of AI, Mario Ciabarra, he knows what's happening. He has a builder's mindset. I'm proud to call you a friend, a mentor, all things. And again, I'll just reiterate it. But patience plus curiosity equals success. You're the embodiment of that. Thank you for joining the Art of Commerce. It's been a pleasure to have you here.
Thanks, Anish. Thank you so much, not only for the friendship, the kindness, the partnership at the companies, but I will tell you, friends for life, and I love you both.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hey, listeners, look up Mario on LinkedIn, follow him, subscribe to the channel, and thanks for tuning in. Mario, it's so great to see you.
Thank you, guys.
See you guys. Have a great one.
This is The Art of Commerce, featuring conversations on creativity and conversions. If you found value in today's episode, follow the show, leave a review, and stay tuned for more insights for the minds reshaping modern marketing.